Good morning, muchachos. This is Mr. Perez. Today is April 2nd, 2020. I want to begin today's lesson by giving you the heads up that we are starting the chapters today. Starting today, whatever material I teach you through these lessons, you are responsible for practicing at home, making sure you know the material, because starting next week, I believe I mentioned the first exit ticket is coming up. I mentioned that I was going to give it to you tomorrow. I'm actually going to give it to you next week. So, starting today, you're going to want to have a notebook, or you're going to want to be prepared to take notes. We're going to start with the vocabulary. And then next week, we're going to move on to the grammar. And eventually, by the end of this chapter, which will take us approximately 2 weeks to complete, we will have a test, okay? So, today is going to be the first day we're going to dive into the chapters. So, in order to be prepared, I wanted to show you really quickly what you need. I have attached for today's lesson 2 things that you're going to need as we go along. Now, I'm going to suggest that these 2 resources, you print them out if you can and have them ready next to you, available, so that as we go through the lesson, you have what you need to go along with the lesson and learn the material. Now, what is it that you need? Let's just go through the announcements. So we have today's date. Now let's practice in Spanish. Ready? 2 de abril, año 2020. And I'm hoping that you're trying to repeat the words right after me, okay? So let's do it one more time. Practice with me. 2 de abril, año 2020. Very good. See if you can do the whole thing by yourself. Go ahead. Okay. Our objectives today. Students will be able to describe others using Spanish vocabulary. As you know, this chapter is about learning descriptive words, and we're going to start with the vocab. Now, your due now is to prepare for this lesson. So what you're going to need is I have attached 2 resources for you. One of them is the graphic organizers, and you have a vocabulary resource as well. I may have already shared this vocabulary resource in the past, so let me just show it to you really quickly. This is that list of words that you're going to need because it's the words we're going to go over. So it would be a really good idea if you could print this out and have it next to you so that as we go through the lesson, you start to see which words we're going to use, which ones I don't want you to use, okay? So have this readily available next to you before you watch the beginning of the video or before I begin the lesson, okay? You'll also want to have, I also attached this, which is graphic organizers from the textbook. Now, this is the same thing we're going to look at in the textbook, except as you can see, the vocabulary is not there. I would like you to print this out. This is the entire vocabulary for this chapter, all right? We're not going to do all of this today. Today, we're going to look at this page right over here, number 1, and page number 2. So if you can print out all of them, it would be a good idea. And then today, we're going to use numbers 1 and 2, pages 1 and 2, as you can see here. All right, graphic organizers, pages 1 and 2. Okay, so I would like you to take a couple of minutes right now and just have those things ready, print them out, have them next to you so that when we go through the lesson, you're ready to go. All right, that is your due now. Go ahead and do it now. Okay, welcome back. If I know some of you might not be able to print these out, so what I would like you to do is just have, I asked you guys when we went over the syllabus to make sure you have a notebook for this class. So take out your notebook and just open up to a blank page. And what you're going to have to do is you can pull these up as tabs, all right? The book, at least this page. And then instead of using the graphic organizers, what I like you to do is you're going to use your notebook, and whenever I go over the vocabulary, you're going to write the definitions on the side. I know it's already done here, but I want you to take notes on it. That's how you're going to learn the material better. All right. So what else do I have? So the directions for today are to watch this lesson. I'm going to go over the vocabulary, how to describe people, how to describe others. I want you to take the notes as we go along. So use the graphic organizers, use your vocabulary notes. And after today's lesson, I just want you to practice for about 5 to 10 minutes using the new vocabulary. You can call a friend, practice with a friend. There's a lot of you that are taking my class. In fact, if you know somebody that already took the class, they might have forgotten a couple of the words, so you can call them up and see if they remember. That wouldn't be a bad idea either. So let's get to the lesson. As you know, we're starting chapter 1. We read the objectives yesterday, so I'm just going to go right over to the lesson. Now, we talked about this yesterday, and we talked about the introduction to the theme, which is how people are, if people are different than us in Spanish-speaking countries. As you can see from the pictures that we went over yesterday, a lot of the students are pretty similar. I mean, they dress similarly. They still go to school. They still hang out after school. It's just a couple of little things, like, for example, you noticed uniforms and that they ride motorcycles to school. We'll talk about them more in chapter 3. Okay? Let's keep going. All right, so this is what we're going to do today. This is today's lesson. So have your notes ready, and let's begin. ¿Cómo es? How is? Remember, es in Spanish. If you have a notebook, you might want to write this next to it. Es is how you say is in Spanish. Is. All right? So when you say something like ¿Cómo es? You're really saying how is. All right? So it says, click the words or phrases to hear them pronounced. I'm going to pronounce them for you. All right? So here we have a bunch of people. The words that you see inside the bubbles are the vocabulary words we're going to practice today, or you're going to learn today. All right? And we're describing people. So let's take a look at this picture of the two girls. What they're trying to show us here is that one girl is pretty and one girl is ugly. So yes, she might be making an ugly face, but the words that we're going to learn are the words for, ready? Pretty and ugly. You'll notice that as we go along the vocabulary notes, they're going to be there. All right? So as you can see, here's bonito and guapo and feo. So you can follow along with this. I might say different words that are written here, but that's okay because they're very similar. So the first one that I want us to practice is how to say pretty in Spanish. Now there's two words for that. You can say, repeat after me, ready? Guapa, guapa, or you can say bonita, bonita. And that's to describe a girl that is both guapa is usually referred to as good looking and or attractive, and bonita is the word for pretty. All right, so practice. Guapa, bonita. Now the word for ugly is fea. So let's practice. Fea. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you something about these words. You're going to notice that in Spanish, a lot of words are going to end either, and this is super, super important. So if you want to make a little note right now in your organizer, whether it's this one, make a little note on the side, or if you're just using a notebook, write this down, okay? In Spanish, a lot of words are going to end in either A or O. And if they end in a specific letter, that tells you which gender the word is for, because all words in Spanish, the majority of them, have a gender. when we describe things, whether they're people or even objects, they have a gender. So the way you're going to know which gender it is if the word ends in A, it's referring to a female, a woman. All right? It is a feminine word. If the word ends in O, as you can see here, then the word is masculine or male. Okay? So let's keep going. As you can see, there are two girls. So the words were guapa, bonita, and fea. If these happen to be two boys, all you would change is the last letter to an O, and then this is what they would sound like. Ready? Let's pretend this is a boy, an attractive or pretty boy, and then this is an ugly boy. Ready? This would be guapo, and this would be bonito. And then an ugly boy would be feo. So let's practice one more time. Ready? Guapo, bonito, feo. Okay. You're going to notice this as we go on. Now, these two words again, pretty, attractive, pretty, and ugly. All right. Now, these two right here, what do you notice about them? What is the difference? Remember, we're describing people. So what is the difference between this guy and this girl? One of them is blank, the other one is blank. Pausing point. All right, you may have noticed, one of the things you may have noticed is that this guy's pretty tall and this girl is pretty short. So those are the words for tall and for short. Let's practice. Ready? And again, notice how, because it's a female, it's a feminine word because it ends in A. It's a woman. For the guy, for the male, you have an O at the end. So let's practice the words and then we'll switch them to the other gender. So we have baja, that means short, and we have alto, that means tall. My suggestion to those of you that are using the graphic organizers, write the word down here, and you might want to write the definition as well. Okay? So essentially, you're making one of these, but with pictures. And you don't have that many words. You have less words, less to think about. If you want to highlight these as we go along, you can do that too. All right? But my suggestion is to start taking notes so I can get you into good habits. Let's keep going. If we wanted to say that this lady, let's say this was a guy, a short guy, and this was a really tall lady. Remember, if it's a short guy, it's going to have an O at the end. If it's a tall woman, because it's a woman, it's going to have an A at the end. So let's see what these sound like. Ready? This would be bajo, and this one would be alta. One more time, bajo, alta. And again, that's if they change genders. Now, here is where I'm going to give you a little bit more than what the book tells you. Now, what do you notice about these four students? They share similar, these two share something similar, and then these two girls are a little different. What's different about these two girls? What's different about these three girls? You may have noticed that their hair color is different. So I'm going to teach you how to describe people by their hair color, but I'm also going to tell you something, some extra notes just for you to know. Some real world applications, okay? How you can use these words in the real world. So let's start off with this word right here. She has red hair. So the way you describe somebody that has red hair is you call them peli roja. Remember, it's a girl, so it's going to end in A. Peli roja. What this word means is literally peli or pelo is hair, and then you might have heard in the past the word rojo, which is red. So this is literally red hair. I know. So ready? Peli roja. If it was a boy with red hair, go ahead and try see if you can say it. If it was a boy, not a girl. Pausing point. Okay. It would be peli rojo if it was a boy. All right. Now here, These guys both have dark colored hair, so we're gonna almost like brunette. So morena and moreno. Notice again, woman or female is gonna have an A at the end, masculine or male, O at the end. All right. We have morena, moreno. Very good. And then the last one is somebody that has blonde hair. It's a girl, so it has an A at the end, and it would be rubia, rubia. And if it was a boy, it would be rubio, rubio. All right. Now I'm going to tell you an additional note. The book doesn't talk about this. It is kind of like it's not an easy subject to talk about, but I'm going to mention it anyways. Because if you're out in the real world and you're trying to describe people, I'm going to teach you how to describe somebody that has a different skin color. All right. Now, why am I teaching you that? Because these two words, morena and moreno, are a way that we can describe people of darker skin color without being insulting. All right. In fact, in Colombia and in other South American countries, I'm not saying that there's no racism in these countries. Of course, there's racism, unfortunately, all over Latin America. But a way that you can describe somebody of darker skin color and it's not offensive is to call them morena or moreno. Okay. Um, so just if you want to add this on the side note, all right, just so you know. Okay. Moreno, morena. Nothing wrong with saying that. And you're describing either skin color or you're describing their hair. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. We have these two boys over here. What do you notice about their personalities? Remember, we're trying to describe them. So what about their personalities? This guy is very what, and this guy is very what? Okay. I want you to take a look at this word, simpático. Simpático. Simpático means friendly. All right. Friendly or kind. And then this word, anti, if you ever taken science classes or anything like that, you should know that anti means against. All right. So it's the opposite. So if this guy's friendly and kind, simpático, what is this guy? Pausing point. He would be unfriendly or unkind. Now let's practice the words. Ready? The word for kind is, or friendly, is simpático. Simpático. And the word for unfriendly, antipático. Antipático. Notice how these words have accents over the A. So for my Spanish speakers, the accents play an important part in how you say the word. This goes for everybody. I'm going to give you a perfect example right now. If this word did oops, if this word did not have an accent, the way you would say this word is simpático. This one, antipático. But because they have an accent, you put an emphasis on the A or whatever vowel the accent is over. So that's why this one is simpático, antipático. All right. You may have noticed a difference in the way I said them, and it's all because of the accent. That's the whole point of accents in Spanish. All right, last two words. Here you have a girl that's trying to be what? And this one, you can probably guess the word if you look at the Spanish word carefully. So let's start off with this one. Look at the word, and I want you to guess as to how we would describe this girl. She is. You may have noticed that if you try to say the word without me saying it first, you might have noticed that it's very similar to the word serious. And that is because this is a cognate. We talked about cognates in the other lesson and how it's words that sound similar and they pretty much mean the same thing. So serious and seria, same thing. All right, practice the word. Ready? Seria. If it was a boy, serio. Good. This girl, she's trying to be funny, right? So take a look at this word now. Try to say this one in Spanish and see if it reminds you of a word in English. You might have seen the word comic in there. So this is the word for how to say that someone is funny. Okay? Funny. Cómica. Cómica. If it was a boy, cómico. And also we have this word which means funny as well, and it's graciosa, graciosa. And if it was a boy, gracioso, gracioso. Okay? All right, let's do these two as if they were girls. So let's pretend they're girls. What do they have at the end instead? Hopefully you said A. And now this would be simpática and antipática if they were girls. All right? So if you need to go over any of these words, hopefully you wrote them down somewhere in your notes or on the graphic organizers. If you are not taking notes, the only thing I'm going to say to you is we are going to go over vocab and then grammar and then other stuff. So part of the learning process is taking the notes. You will remember the material much more, I promise. All right, let's keep going. Next page. Now this part, what I'd like you to do is I want you to try, and as you know, every time we have these conversation pieces, this is what I want you to practice at home today. All right? This little conversation piece. So let's look at this one first. Here we have a boy, Roberto, and his friend, Julia. So I'm going to read to you what it says. It says, Roberto es un amigo de Julia. Roberto is a friend of Julia. Roberto es un amigo bueno. So here's the book throwing us another word, another vocab word. But you might have seen this word in the past, bueno, like buenos días. So what do you think about this friend? Good friend or bad friend? A good friend. Like buenos días. Buenos means good day. Buenos días, good days. Roberto es un amigo bueno. Julia es una amiga de Roberto. Y Julia es una amiga buena. They're telling us that they're each other's friends, and they're both good friends. Notice how when they're describing the boy, it's bueno with the O at the end. And oh, surprise, it's an A at the end for the girl. Get used to it, kids. O for boy, A for girl. All right. The conversation piece. This is what I like you to do, especially this part right here. Ready? So I'm going to go through it. It says, ¿Quién es el amigo de Julia? ¿Quién means who? You will see it here in this vocabulary thing. All right? See the question words right there? So, ¿quién? Oops. ¿Quién es who? ¿Quién es el amigo de Julia? Obviously, it's Roberto because she doesn't have any other friends, right? As far as we know. So, Roberto is her friend. ¿Quién es el amigo de Julia? Roberto. Okay. The way you can practice this at home is you can say, ¿Quién es el amigo de? And then just name a friend. And then you can answer that question. Okay? Or if you're at home with your grown-ups or your parents, you can say, ¿Quién es el amigo de? And then like your dad or your mom or something, or your grandma, grandpa. And then you can try to use their friend's name here. Okay? So you need to be a little creative with this stuff. Okay? You don't have to follow the script specifically. You can make it your own. Make it personal. Oops, keep doing that. All right. Now, this is the important part because we're trying to describe each other. So, cómo means how. We're describing people, right? So, ¿cómo es él? Él is he. Just so you know, this is going to come up later in the chapter. How is he? ¿Cómo es él? And she says, es alto y gracioso. So, pausing point. They just described Roberto. How did they describe Roberto? You have two words right here. What are the two words? What's alto and what is gracioso? Notice how they both end in O, gives you a clue, talking about the boy. Go ahead and answer that. Pausing point. Okay. Alto means tall. Gracioso means funny. Okay? Hopefully that's what you said. And here we have another one where we're going to describe the girl. Here's a cute little girl from Peru, I think she is from. Oh, no, Ecuador. Okay. La muchacha joven. Joven means young. Okay. I'm not expecting you to know this word. I'm just letting you know. Even though it's in the vocab. La muchacha joven es de Ecuador. Ella es, and this is how you describe people from other countries, by the way. You notice how it's the same name as the country, and then you just add Rihanna, Riano. All right. You're not responsible for the nationalities either. But let's go over it. La muchacha joven es de Ecuador. I'm going to go a little slower. Ready? La muchacha joven es de Ecuador. Ella es ecuatoriana. Yeah. Ella es ecuatoriana. So the young girl is from Ecuador and she's Ecuadorian. This word right here, ella, means she. And this word, él, where'd it go? Oops. Hey, where'd it go? Él means he. It's going to come up later in the chapters. Now, this is the other conversation piece I would like you to practice. So when it says practice here, practice 5 to 10 minutes using new vocabulary, what I'm expecting you guys to be doing is to be trying to practice using the words that we just went over, the ones that go on this page. And then I want you to try to use the conversation with somebody. All right. So this conversation and this conversation. And again, you can get a little creative, obviously, right? So for example, de donde, that means from where, es la muchacha. ¿De dónde es la muchacha? Es de Ecuador. She's from Ecuador, right? And don't worry about this part right here because I'm not going to go over nationalities. But you can ask, for example, this little part right here. ¿De dónde es tu amigo? Where's your friend from? You could say es, no, not that one. You could say es de, and for now you can just say United States. All right? Or if you have a friend from another country, you can say the other country. For example, I have a friend that's from Nigeria. So I could say something like, ¿De dónde es el muchacho? Es de Nigeria. Okay, you don't know how to say Nigeria in Spanish, so I'm not expecting you to say it. Let's say you have a friend from Canada. ¿De dónde es la muchacha? Es de Canadá. Es de Canada, sorry, because you don't know how to say it in Spanish. ¿De dónde es tu amigo? Oh, él es de, let's see another country. Él es de México. Él es de Puerto Rico. Él es de Dominican Republic. All right? Get creative, but try to practice with the conversation. 3 key takeaways from this lesson is make sure that you know, and I'm giving you the heads up now, the most important thing from these chapters, from this vocab for today's lesson is make sure you know these vocab words in the bubbles, okay? And for this page, make sure you know these 3 words right here. ¿Quién? Means who. ¿Cómo? Means how. ¿De dónde? Means from where. Okay? Go through the conversation 5 to 10 minutes with someone, and that's all I'm expecting you to do today. Now, en otras partes, in addition to el muchacho, by the way, you might have heard me say muchacha and muchacho. That means boy and girl. In addition to el muchacho, you'll also hear el chico. In Mexico, you'll hear el chamaco. So yes, depending on what country you're from, you're going to call kids or boys and girls different things. Chico, chamaco, and yeah. Some countries are actually kind of funny, like Argentina. They call each other, you know how here in the United States we call each other, oh, hey, what's up, bro? Over there in Argentina, they call each other uncle. I don't know why, but they do. Say, oye, tío. I don't know why. Okay? In Colombia, for example, we call each other cousins. Hola, primo. Hola, prima. Literally all the time. All right? So, just different sayings. I thought I'd share that with you. All right. If you have any questions about this might have seemed like a pretty simple lesson. It is. All right. My suggestion again, make sure you're practicing these vocab words. You have an exit ticket next week, so make sure you're looking at this little area right here for upcoming assignments, okay? Hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Y hasta luego, muchachos.